Greetings, people who really like the accordion. And we actually have an accordion. Actually, I have to have an accordion for this part now. Okay, so in my last video, I showed you that I thought I discovered a shortcut to the blues. Okay? A long time ago in my studies, I found, while I was failing with my other systems, I found some good stuff, and one of them I think I can call a shortcut to the blues. I simply took, as I demonstrated, a subject chord, a perfect subject chord, and I added it to the aggregating minor chord. That's what I call it, subject aggregating, and I got a blues scale. Okay, you've already seen that. And you can do this system with any key. Here's G, your G blues scale. Here's D. D's nice if you want to use only one sharp key. All right, play with only one sharp key. E flat's nice if you want to play using only one natural key. Okay, we'll get into that pretty soon. Just hold on. So that's what I was trying to tell you, a shortcut. So let's actually use it. Now, to use it, there's something that has to be understood. One, the circle of fifths gives us our subject and aggregating chord. It gives it to us. All right, we get our tones. For example, in the key of G, you'd have your G perfect chord. That'd be this. And then you have your B flat minor. That's your aggregating minor chord. Okay? Separately, these two chords separately for the blues are somewhat useless. Somewhat useless. You need to have something happen. And I say it happens naturally. I say with the blues, it happens naturally. Let's go back when we talked about the subject scale. We used D flat major as an example. Here's your tones, all right? And then we have the aggregating scale, A major, and we had our tones. And when we combined them, in other words, when we looked at them in the sense of alternation, all right, we saw that we got a whole full chromatic scale. Subject plus aggregating, we got a whole thing. We got a whole deal. So back then, I discovered that alternation was important. Okay? Now, in one of the sample blues scales that I showed you, we alternated subject, aggregating, etc. Okay? And not only that, but even way back in the beginning when I failed at my other stuff, my other systems, even the concept, the idea of alternation to me was important. Alternation was meaningful. I knew that I was looking for something that had to do with alternation, but I didn't know what it was, and I didn't think I found it. But you have to alternate with the blues. And why? Because I think it's inherent in music, and I think it's idiomatic. Now, idiomatic means peculiar to a particular style. That's hard to see. Okay, peculiar to a particular style, because I'm seeing this backwards on this phone. Now, what we have with the blues is, then we have idiomatic alternation. Idiomatic alternation is the operation, the process. It just happens, and you get the blues. That's what you get. You alternate from your subject chord to your aggregating chord. You're alternating those tones. And I call this process, I officially named this and called this, I don't know when it happened. I don't have any dates, I don't have any times, I just don't know. But I call it the Mississippi Meld. Meld means to blend and melt, blend together. Just like with your subject and your aggregating, it's a blending. And in the case of the blues, I say, not only does it happen, but I say it has to happen. Why? Because of this. Let's say you have, you want to do the C blues scale with my circle shortcut, my method. So what you have is, you have the C perfect chord, okay? And that has a certain color and a certain feel. And then the aggregating minor scale to go with it is E flat minor. And you notice something immediately. The C perfect chord, minor chord. One, metaphorically that is, represents joy, the other dread. One, let's say, happy, the other sad. One, let's say, hope, and the other doom. But just listen to it. Listen to the essence of the process of the blues. You have your perfect chord and your aggregating minor chord. Now separately you can use them for composition, but they're two totally different moods and feels and emotion. It's totally different. They must be brought together. And the bringing together is the blues. The bringing together, the alternation, the Mississippi Meld is the blues. It's the unconscious stuff pushing up, like in psychology, pushing up and just begging to come out. And I call it the Mississippi Meld because the blues came from the Mississippi. Mississippi, the Delta, the Mississippi Delta, the state. I mean, this is the deal. And I think it's an honor to give this process a name, and not only that, but give it a name that's appropriate to its place of origin and to the people of origin. All right? So that's what we do. We call it the Mississippi Meld. Now let's go back to this chart here and see what happens here. Remember, we have to blend the subject tones with the aggregating tones to get the blues. So for example, in G, the key of G, let's say I don't like C, I want to use G. We have the G perfect chord, and the aggregating minor is B flat minor. No matter what key you're in, you're going to get joy and dread, hope and doom. And to be the blues, to make the blues, they have to come together. And they have to alternate. It's a process without which you can't have the blues. Now these same tones I showed you are being alternated. Whoops, sorry. Not a performer. I'm just trying to show you something here. Now let's do D. Your tonal center D here. So that means we're using our D perfect subject chord, and we're using an F minor aggregating minor. And here's the tones, but we must have the Mississippi Meld. We have to do it, or it's crap. It's crap without it. Oops. I'm doing the same musical line just to show you the alternation, and I want to include every tone. All right, so we're not getting fancy here. This is the idiomatic alternation. This is critical. This is the blues. And I could go on and on. Oh, here's E flat. I can't show you E flat on the left hand because I don't have an E flat. But here it is. Your E flat perfect chord. That's your subject chord. Your G minor aggregating minor chord. And here's your tones. E flat perfect. And then over here is your G, Oh, that's not right. Oh, that's supposed to be a G flat minor. I apologize. Hold on. G flat minor. Anyway, so yeah, I just fixed that. That's supposed to be a E flat perfect chord and a G flat minor, and that way you get a scale, and you only have to use one natural key. In fact, I'll show it to you here. See one white key? Now, first of all, this is simpler to me than learning each and every minor pentatonic scale for each and every tonal center. I think it's easier. You use the circle shortcut that I invented, and it's quicker and easier. The only reason I didn't play it well is because I don't practice and I don't really play. But basically, what you have here is you have the blues, and the blues happens because of what I call, this is just my own personal thing, the Mississippi Meld. It's a process, an operation of alternation of your subject and aggregating tones. And to me, that's the blues. And I'll come back shortly and talk about a little bit about more theory and wrap it up. But this is what I found years ago while I was making mistakes. I found this during my bloopers. And that's how we go from bloopers to blues. Anyway, so there you have it. Alternation. Alternation, that's the key. The Mississippi Meld, that's the whole key to the blues. That's it. Okay, thanks for being really, really patient through this series of videos, and I'll come back with one more to wrap up some good stuff, and that's it. So thank you very, very much, and good night.